Hi, it's Holger Mueller from Constellation Research, sharing my takeaways of this year's Build Developer Conference happening in Seattle this week. First of all, so happy the lower third, it's this way, is back, so I don't have to say that I'm from Constellation Research and hold up the logo from the jacket, so that's no longer needed. But so kudos to whoever put this up. Not going to mention the company in this video, but what are my takeaways? Made an exception, big conference, usually multiple days, so went beyond the usually 3, doing 4. I think the biggest thing to step back is that Windows innovation is back, right? So there was this whole push of different Windows versions, 7 moving to 10, new architecture, browser, lots of homework being done from that and foundation laying done by Microsoft from that perspective. Now it's kind of like bringing the fun pieces back in terms of creative updates, which should draw in users more in doing things with Windows, the remix applications, the capability to download virtual reality figures, put them into your videos, understanding your storyline, right? It's those movie makers back in the 21st century. So interesting things and differentiators there. Not sure if Microsoft has the right mixture. I think building and hoping for the creative side in all of us is always a good idea. But I think today we are more consumers than creators, and let's see how well that will work for Microsoft with this heavy foot on the creative side. But good things happening. Most importantly, under the foundation is the graph, the project originally known as Delve, which has now been extended to not only being a graph of people from Active Directory or your HR system, but it's every file, every device, everything is running on graph. So it's really important for developers as well as executives out there to understand what graph does, how to build it, how to access the API. Microsoft on their side has to make better clear how it can be consumed, how you provide edge, how fine-tuned security is being done, it's provisioned, it's giving access to that interesting capabilities there. This is always going to be for free, so some interesting aspects to look at from that perspective. Azure, big topic, innovation is back. Scott Guthrie spoke there yesterday with Azure Functions being more prominent, getting better integrated into Visual Studio, the consoles getting better. IoT made a big push with moving to the edge, allowing the distribution of IoT relevant code through containers. Containers are all the rage. The big news actually were new database options, PostgreSQL being supported and MySQL being supported. Hopefully my microphone is talking over this announcement here and you can hear me well. So that's the interesting part. But the big announcement was Cosmos DB, a new database, well, not so 100% brand new, built on top of Document DB, and NoSQL database which is synced across multiple locations, 0 sub-second SLAs. Very interesting offering from that perspective. Interesting enough, you listened to me before the takeaway was the graph. Microsoft didn't confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that the Microsoft graph is powered by Cosmos DB. So it's always good when your vendor has an internal use case for something which you want to rely on, and you can figure out what it means for Microsoft to make sure that that graph all the way down to file and usage level is up to date and can be used for other use cases which have to do tremendously uptake of that. I got a preview of SharePoint, which is having an event last week, like all the files, everything that you're doing, running AI on top of that. This must be a super performant piece of software, and probably it's one of the most brilliant engineering pieces that Microsoft has built in the last years with Graph on top of Cosmos DB. And the other news then, it was always a HoloLens event the last 2 years. The HoloLens debuted, was a preview. It became available a year ago. The news here was that Microsoft's kind of like moving away to a certain point, not from the long-term vision of mixed reality, which the HoloLens does with only inlay and overlay about things, but offering a more low-cost solution together with partners. I think they're Acer, HP, and another one providing headsets, but moving down into the virtual reality space. And that's going to be connected to a Windows PC via a USB cable. So very different experience than the headable, as I call it, not a wearable, but a headable being the Microsoft Hololens, which is a portable PC which you pair on your head, hence I call it a headable. So re-energize to build, talking back to developers to re-energize the efforts to build these applications which are hard to build. So, but overall on the concern side, there might be something not 100% fine with the Hololens, which should have been come down in cost and price. Moore's law applies to it. I asked that question. Not all components, of course, get cheaper all the time. Doesn't have to be the case, but if you think about what it might cost, Microsoft should be in that range of the $300, $400 range, which is the sweet spot for getting it out to consumers before the holiday season and so on. So that didn't happen. My interpretation within detail, totally my speculation, is Microsoft is revving the spec of the HoloLens, and that new HoloLens will not be necessarily a cheap device, but a more capable device, maybe with a bigger display. In the demos I saw, I thought the display was bigger in this version, but it could be my leaky memory. I don't have one at home, but it looked bigger. Very exciting, interesting demos done with the HoloLens here. Uptake from enterprise as well, but interesting why it's not the mixed reality experience was coming down to lower cost and price levels. We'll get the answer in the next months, I'm sure. So overall, my point of view, a good build from Microsoft, no big investment. I personally like that very much because that means the vendor is doing his homework, maybe my 25 years legacy of building software myself. If it's quiet and nobody's disinvesting, which certainly is not the case in Microsoft, Microsoft's doubling down on its capability, good things are happening behind the scenes. So for customers and developers means learn up for developers what Microsoft's offering. Take a special look at Graph because you can't get around and not work with Graph if you want to stay in the Microsoft ecosystem. And for enterprise, it means for executives, get rid of some technical debt, right? If Microsoft is doing house cleaning and delivering, almost forgot this, they're delivering on long-term visions, right? The new adaptive fluid UI experience together with ink on the pen on the Surface devices. A guy called Bill Gates said something 20 plus years ago that that's the future of computing. So delivered on that. And the other big one, also not so much noticed in the keynote today, is the clipboard, right, going through the cloud or through the web. Something Ray Ozzie 10 plus years ago wanted to see happening as a productivity device was demoed today. So kudos to Microsoft to fulfill those promises and laying a foundation for the future. For enterprises, eliminate technical debt. There's going to be more things coming from Microsoft. Concerns on my side, I mentioned the HoloLens. Something is not 100% gelling there for me. The other thing is on the AI side, tons of AI things being shown, but the lack of having the one hot thing in AI, which really is machine learning. And machine learning is really being neural networks, not having their own neural network, at least publicly to consume, but for people to bring their neural network is a good solution to build it. But that coming from other companies, other competitors in the space on the consumer side is not a good position for Microsoft to be there. Nobody confirming it, can't start any rumors. I hope that Microsoft's working on their own neural networking capability to do the most prominent use case, which is voice recognition, right? Almost forgot. Consumer devices together with Harman Kardon, right, the competitor to the Google Home and the Amazon Alexa, coming from Microsoft again in a partner approach, very similar to what we've seen from Microsoft now with the new VR devices. And didn't have time to talk it and running out of time, talking way too long here, the Azure Stack, which was the on-premise delivery of Azure. Well, that's way too long. Thanks for watching, for bearing with me. Hope the audio was good. This is Holger Mueller from Constellation Research, over and over from Seattle. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.